Good afternoon. This is Kathleen. Welcome back, or welcome if it's the first time you've been here. I just went and fed the birds. I haven't done a whole lot on the house yet. I'm getting ready to make my lunch. So I've been reading my emails and trying to figure out what kind of raised bed I can put out. I have a couple, I have 4 raised beds that are rotting right now. 3 of them are wood that I bought when I first moved into this house in 2005, 2006. I can't remember when I moved in. Anyway, and then I have 1 plastic that's falling apart. I moved that one because the oak tree, it's a pin oak out there. It's massive now. When I first moved in, it wasn't that big. But now it's huge and it's overshadowing some of those raised beds. So I've been thinking about buying another birdie's bed. I didn't really want to spend the money for one. I know they will probably last me the rest of my life. So I kind of looked at the cedar and redwood at Lowe's online, and they're so expensive. And then I'm not very good at putting things together like that don't have instructions. I mean, I can nail it and I could probably nail it or screw it together, but yeah, it would be cobbled together because I'm not a woodworker. So I'm thinking about buying a birdie bed again. They're on sale right now. I'm getting a little bit back on my federal return. Not much. Enough to cover the birdie bed though. So if I ever get my tax return, which I don't know if I ever will. I finished my taxes last week. I did it as soon as I could. I think it was last week. Anyway, it's been, I got an email saying it was received, but now the federal government's in chaos, so who knows? If not, then I'll try and use some other form of payment. That's if everything goes okay. So the reason I decided to maybe get another raised bed besides the rotting ones now is that I never have enough room for everything I want to grow. So the place that I bought my manure from last year sent me a message saying that my county gives $50. I guess it's like a grant, some kind of fund that they got for different things. One is new raised beds, a backyard habitat, and then a pollinator garden. Or a monarch butterfly way station. So I thought about doing that, but it also says if you use it for the pollinator garden, you have to get soil samples and prove that you had your soil tested, and then they will give you money for this from this fund. If you used a raised bed garden, which I was thinking about doing anyway, you don't have to get a soil test because obviously the soil is raised off your garden, off your ground, so there's nothing to test. It's $50. It's a little bit. It would help pay for like half, well, not quite half of the manure that I got from this company that sent me the email. It's a little bit of help, so I'm going to try and do this. So I started trying to make a butterfly habitat kind of over my front and side gardens last year. I didn't see very many butterflies last year. It was kind of frightening. I saw one buckeye butterfly and a few of the little white butterflies, and that was it. I saw no monarchs. I saw no swallowtails, and I usually see those a lot in my garden. I may have just missed them because I'm not out all the time, but it was kind of scary. I try not to use any pesticides in my garden. Sometimes here in Kentucky, you don't have a choice if you want to eat out of your garden. I do use neem oil. Use it sparingly if I can. I don't know where you would check for something like this in your area, if they have some kind of grant or funding for home gardeners to help the environment or help you feed your family. I'm assuming you can get a hold of your county officials, or I guess it would be more county than city, to see if they offer anything like that in your area. So I'll let you know if this works, if they approve me or not, and they do supposedly come back and check to see that you've actually done what you said you were going to do. So I don't know if they're going to bother with that, but we'll see. So the backyard habitat thing is you agree to set up things like bird feeders and bird baths or watering stations for the birds and other creatures, I guess. And they help provide some of the money. They provide $50 towards that. They also, there's a rule that you have to keep it going for at least 2 years. And it makes it sound like they come back and check to make sure you still have your bird feeders up and that you're still supplying the birds, which reminded me to go feed my birds because I haven't done it in a while. And speaking of the bird feeder, someone mentioned that I should put my persimmons that I dried, that I dehydrated, and put up in my cabinet. I can't find anybody who wants them. I don't like the dehydrated persimmon slices. Someone told me to put them in my in the bird feeder, so I did. And the birds and or squirrels threw them out of the bird feeder. All of them are now on the ground and nobody's eaten any of it. So the squirrels don't like them. The birds don't like them. The cats that come in my yard don't like them. So I think I'm going to, when it's drier, I'm going to just toss them into my garden and let them rot in there. And I'll probably take the rest of them and bury in my garden because nobody wants them, apparently, which is kind of good. I hope they don't bother the persimmons on my trees. They haven't yet. I haven't seen any bird damage on the persimmons that are growing on my trees. So my persimmon trees, they're little dwarf trees. There's 2 of them. I've had them 2 years now. The first year, they were just sticks when I bought them. The first year, I got 1 or 2 from one tree. Last year, that tree didn't produce anything. I thought it was dying. I thought it had actually died for a while there. But it eventually leafed out. It just didn't produce anything, any fruit. And then the other tree I got 44 persimmons off that tree, that little bitty tree. It is 3.5, 4 feet tall now. It was huge. There was a massive amount of persimmons. So I lost some of the persimmons, dropped a few, but not many. But I couldn't believe I got so many persimmons off that one little tree. My peach tree out front that I just planted a year, it produced the first year too, which kind of shocked me. I had a lot of peaches too. I don't remember exactly how many, but it's a dwarf. My other trees, I have, I don't know if I mentioned it in other videos, but I also, right about the time that I retired, I bought 2 cherry trees. One's a dwarf and one's I think it's a standard, but I was going to prune it to where it didn't get massive because it's on the side of the yard, on the far side of the yard. What else do I have? And then my son got me a dwarf apple as a northern spy for Christmas. It's coming in the springtime and it's going to go out in the backyard. I thought I would have to buy another tree to pollinate it, but then I read that crab apples will cross-pollinate with them. So gonna see if that works. I've had this crab apple, the previous owner of the house planted it years ago. And so, you know, if I keep saying I'm gonna do this and I never do it, I keep saying I'm gonna make some crab apple jelly and then I never do it. Part of the reason is I would get too busy with work because I was a nurse for years and our days are 12 to 16 hours and then commute time. And so it was, even when I was working full time at home, I just didn't feel like doing anything else except the bare minimum. I mean, I would take care of my garden and do normal chores around the house, but actually wanting to do any kind of canning or anything like that. I do refrigerator pickles because I don't want to have to actually make canned pickles. It's just too much work. So I might try the crab apples this year, make up a couple jars or a few jars for me and some friends that are local here. I'm going to make some cold noodles, some Japanese cold noodles now, because it's lunchtime. And I guess I'll let you watch me do that. It's really simple. but it may not be something you normally eat. I've only had cold noodles in a restaurant once because it's so easy to make. I had it over in Japan just because that happened to be my Japanese exchange student took us to this restaurant, and apparently they're famous for the cold noodles. So of course I had to order them, and they were good, but they're very simple to make. My son's already made the dipping sauce for them, and I have green onions that I cut up from my bowl yesterday, I think, or the day before. I can't remember. I think it was yesterday I ate a bowl. But I'm gonna boil the noodles right now. So the noodles that I'm making are the somen. Mine's a Japanese brand that I got at an Asian grocery store. I think you can buy them now in Walmart, maybe Kroger. I know you can get them on Amazon too. Mine is Kikkoman. They have different kinds of soup bases. I think as long as it's soy sauce based, I think it's okay. This has soy sauce, sugar, water, salt, bonito extract, which is fish, monosodium glutamate, which I grew up eating. My mom seasoned everything with MSG. She called it Ajinomoto. So that's how I knew. I had to Google exactly what it was because I didn't know the two were the same until all the hoopla over MSG a few years ago. Well, probably 10 years now, where nobody wanted to eat it, but I grew up eating it, so I don't really care. It has vinegar, caramel color, and other preservatives and stuff that I'm not gonna go over. It's just a soup base. It's I guess a fish and soy type base. And you basically just add water to it. My water's boiling. And I'm only going to make one pack. Because my pan is small. So my son used a one of my large frying pans to boil his noodles the other day. I guess so he wouldn't have to break them up. Only takes 3 minutes to boil. Have a strainer full of ice to cool them off. Gonna let them drain. Soup bowl. The broth. You don't really need a lot of the soup broth. I think that's gonna be enough. It's just to give it flavor, give the noodles flavor, basically. Got some green onions. And my son apparently eats his with seaweed on top, so just because they're here, I'm going to put some on top too. And then I have to drink up his cran cherry drink. It's okay, but I prefer water or tea or coffee. There's also another one in there, cran something. They're cranberry and something else mixed together. I'm gonna see if my daughter will take that other one. So noodles, I'm just using my fingers. It's just me here. So my son already put green onions in the soup base, but I'm gonna add a few on top. And then seaweed. It's been toasted and seasoned with salt, apparently, sea salt. They're really good just to snack on too. Even with without rice, they're good. So I'm gonna eat my soup, my noodles. I didn't really crush the seaweed too good. It's so good, even on a cold, yucky day. So I'm gonna eat, and then I'm gonna work a little bit on the house, trying to get rid of some of those, the stuff in the living room. See how much more I can fit in my car. It's pretty full right now, but I think I can fit some more stuff in there. So after I had my cold noodles this afternoon, I decided I wanted to make some tempura. I don't have any tempura batter, so I had to look online for a recipe. I've never made one from scratch before, so I'm gonna see how this works. I looked at quite a few. They're all different, so hopefully this one works. I'm gonna put the camera down. So I have a cup of flour, 1/4 a cup of cornstarch with 1/2 a teaspoon of salt, 1 large egg, and a cup of cold water. Over here. I thawed some shrimp out of the freezer that I had left over from Christmas. A couple small mushrooms I cut in half. 2 smallish carrots that I just cut into long pieces. And then part of an onion. I'm not sure how far this is going to go. If I have more batter left over, I'll make some more vegetables or something. So the box stuff is all just mixed together, and I'm pretty sure it's mostly cornstarch, but I could be wrong about that. I don't know. My oil is heating up on the stove already. I'm using avocado oil because it's the only thing I have in large enough quantity for the pan. So So the first thing well, I think I have this backwards. Okay, so I'm gonna get a plastic bowl because you're supposed to mix the water, the cold water and the egg together. And everything's supposed to be cold. And then you're supposed to add the flour. It's really lumpy. This makes a difference. Okay, I'm gonna do the shrimp first. So you're supposed to put the shrimp in the cornstarch first. And then dip it in the batter. And then fry it. So I made a mess doing that. So I'm gonna try and get this stuff all ready and then put them all in at once. I don't remember it being this difficult or this messy. I had to turn the fan on because the oil was smoking. My mom used chopsticks to do this. Really good. So I'm frying up the last of the onions. I got some more just to use up some of the batter and the rest of the oil that was in the pan. So you're supposed to fry the tempura up really quickly. So the oil is supposed to be super hot. I don't remember the temperature, but I didn't check it. So I apologize for the fan, but I had to have the fan on because the oil got a little too hot and started smoking. But here's, besides the rest of the onions over there, here's the plate of vegetables. And then the shrimp that I made first. I'm going to try one of the shrimp first. I think they got a little soggy sitting on the plate. Shrimp. It's okay. It's not the best tempura shrimp I've ever had. Carrots are one of my favorites. It's very good, but I think it's the carrots. I mean, the batter is fine. I think the shrimp just got a little soggy sitting on the plate. Mushroom. I should have made more mushrooms. Now I'm sad. Oh, that was so good. And then onion. It's really good too. So, I think it came out okay. My stove is a mess. Now I know why my mom had one of those, I think I had one too when I first moved out of my house. One of those screens you put over your frying pan. I don't usually fry up food on the stove. The only thing I fry usually is bacon or an egg, and I cook my bacon between 2 paper towels in the little mini oven so it doesn't spatter. It looks really bad over there. So if you like tempura, shrimp, or vegetables, you might want to try this recipe. It came out pretty good. I couldn't tell the difference in the batter flavor at all from the box stuff. And I'm sure it's cheaper than buying the box stuff. I haven't bought tempura batter in a long time because I don't fry a lot of foods anymore. I'm trying to be healthy. Yeah. So tonight's dinner is not going to be very healthy other than what's in the vegetables and shrimp. So I didn't really do a whole lot in the living room. I basically just put the books that I took off my one desk and moved them from in there back to my desk. And I'm going to try and start reading some of those read a little bit every day to start getting rid of those. I think I'm going to air fry a couple of these before I eat them because they're getting cold and they're not crispy anymore. So thank you all for watching, and you all take care. Bye.